And the one US show, Matt and I went back and forth on what to review, and we settled upon HBO's Mosaic, which will be on Sky Atlantic on Saturday, and all on the Sky Atlantic box sets, or whatever you want to phrase them, on that night as well. Now, cards on the table. I have seen this, I have watched this, I have a memory of this, but I did not understand this, and I want Matt to explain it and go through it.
Was an interesting... I mean, I'm in the same boat, really, as you. This was an interesting one, because HBO with Steven Soderbergh, who wrote and created it, released this as an app, or on an app, where you could sort of follow the story of certain people and choose where to go next. You couldn't affect the story, per se, but you could watch it in a certain order. And it certainly feels that when watching this, it is a little bit out of order. It feels all a bit scrambled. And I think that's
a little bit like this bit, then we'll put this bit in, then we'll do that bit.
A little bit like a mosaic, almost.
I've just got that.
Mosaic is also the company owned by Olivia Lake, who is played by Sharon Stone. She's a children's author and illustrator who lives in this snowy town in Utah, somewhere, Summit, I think it was called. She meets a young sort of aspiring artist who's working as a waiter at one of the functions, who she sort of gets a fondness for and asks to sort of move into her place and do some odd jobs around, and she'll sort of promote his artwork and give him tips and things like that. And then at the same time, there's this neighbour of hers, like a surrogate son, who wants to get her out of the property, wants to get his hands on the property, so enlists this con man to sort of seduce her, and they have like dinner together, and that's sort of the end of the episode. You know, you get the impression that things are going to happen. You see, like, the first scene is 4 years in this is all set 4 years in the past. The first scene is set in the present, where the guy, Eric, the con man, has been arrested for the murder of Olivia, but then new evidence has come to light, and you think maybe it's Joel, who's the artist, the Garrett Hedlund character, that has done it. But at this early stage, you don't quite know what's going on. You've got all these disparate scenes with different characters. At times,
different colours.
Different colours, and at times you were trying to work out which character, who fitted to who, and the Eric character was almost on his own plane. There was a bit where Beau Bridges showed up for no reason. I think we are both in the same boat, that very little memory of this, very confusing. I think because HBO decided to release it on the telly in this form, and putting the scenes in a certain order which made the most sense. That's what it feels like to me, that they will put it together. The app was first, the sort of drama created as part of the app came first, and then they put it together as a mini-series. And, it was shown, I think, over 5 nights, 6 episodes shown over 5 nights. So again, like Trauma, which we'll talk about later, that it was an easy story to get on, but you could watch it all together quite quickly. I suppose that's why they're doing the Sky box set thing. But Sky Atlantic showing it over 6 weeks, I don't think it will get much of a viewership that way, like sort of traditional, because you forget about it almost as soon as you've watched it. I mean, in terms of what I really like Sharon Stone in this.
I wish you hadn't said that. That was the only positive thing. That was the only positive I was going to glean from it, is that I thought, from the moment she's on screen, I thought she was incredibly engaging.
Yeah.
She woke me up, because we'd see the scene it starts with, where they're talking to the guy they're going to arrest, and they're saying, it felt like something we'd seen 1,000,001 times before, and then Sharon Stone comes on and lights the whole thing up. Yeah. And I found her really engaging.
I'll tell you who else I liked in this was Paul Rubens as her sort of...
I find him too odd. It's not his fault.
But I liked it. I think they played to his oddness in this. He's sort of... I think there is a lot of things about Paul Rubens just generally that are a bit odd. But I liked him in this, and I did genuinely think, is that Paul Rubens to start off with? Because I wasn't...
2018 is quite a time to be alive, because I never thought we'd see Sharon Stone on TV, and then Sharon Stone on TV with Paul Rubens as like her sidekick.
Yeah.
With Pee Wee as her sidekick.
But those scenes are the best, where it's either her on her own or those two together. I think they have a certain presence, which isn't, when it's all men talking in rooms is basically the rest of this thing, isn't it? I mean, I think that Sharon Stone has such a sort of grace and elegance and presence. I mean, she was one of the big film stars of the 90s.
Yeah, but you forget, because you don't see that much of her, really. No. And then she pops up on this and was, surprised me.
She hasn't done a lot of TV, really, has she, Sharon Stone? There was something, apparently, she was in as the vice president last year on TNT that ran for a season and then was cancelled.
I'm not adverse to being confused. It's just that when it finished, I couldn't work out whether I was confused because I'm dim, or whether I was confused because I hadn't paid attention, or whether I was confused because I was supposed to be confused. Sometimes you watch things and you go, oh, I don't get that, but I'm going to stick with it and see where it's going. And sometimes you think, do I not get that because I'm,
Yeah, I know. I think we're exactly the same on this. I think I felt the same. I think you're confused because it wasn't really... there wasn't really an order in which it was meant to be viewed.
Yeah.
So you might have been less confused had you gone on the app and watched it a different way.
It was as if somebody had printed out the first pages of their novel to be sort of proofread by somebody, and on the way some dozy devil drops them all, and they try and piece them all together best they can before they send it off to the person to proofread. Nothing really felt like it was supposed to be next to the other thing, and oddly, if I hadn't have known it was an app, I think I might have had to guess that it was something else.
Yeah.
Because at no point did it feel like a piece of TV. And as soon as I was engaged, I was lost again, and then I was bored. I will say, for something that I didn't find very engaging, it moved along quite quickly, despite me.
Well, it was 50 minutes, wasn't it? 50. Yeah.
But I've watched things for 50 minutes that have felt much longer than this. I'd probably forget about this for the minute we stop talking.
Yeah, same.
Isn't it a shame, though?
Yeah.
I'd love to find something where we can both go, and we have had it this year. No, I keep being a bit disparaging. Kiri Inside Number 9 and then Love and Hate Crime we have liked this year, but on the whole, I just feel bad doing all this. Oh, I didn't really get that, or I didn't like it, but it is how I felt, especially after finishing this, where I wanted to talk to you almost immediately and make sure that I wasn't daft. I even thought about watching it a second time.
You rang me to say, am I watching the right episode?
Well, yeah, just because I didn't have any inclination about it, and I thought I need to know before I get too far in.
It does do the Luke special of starting and then flashing back.
Yes, well, I don't have actually, I didn't have an issue with that.
No.
It was more that, apart from Sharon Stone, I couldn't tell you any names of the characters. I couldn't tell you, really what their purpose was. Yeah, there you go. It'll be on Sky Atlantic Saturday night. Now, they don't normally launch dramas on a Saturday night, so that's an interesting factoid, I suppose. But it'll all be on the box sets for you to watch at your leisure, all 6 parts. It didn't really feel very high-end for HBO. I suppose getting Sharon Stone in was quite a coup, but apart from that...
Well, you watched it on your blooming phone. Most people would have done.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I need a bigger screen.